Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Network security, network optimization, customer analytics, virtual assistants, self-diagnosis, fraud detections. Those are areas that AI is very well known from. But new applications, new projects, and all with AI components are popping out and catching our attention on a daily basis. Today, we will discuss exactly that. Trends in AI disrupting the telecom field. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Welcome. My name is Pedro Ferreira. I'm part of the Plug and Play team here in Frankfurt, the enterprise tech team, and I will be your host for the next 2 hours. I have a quite interesting fact, by the way, a general fact. Everyone knows Alexander Bell as the telephone inventor, but did you know that indeed we have a big link to the telecom industry here in Frankfurt, indeed with Philip Reyes. He was the inventor of the first function device that was able to transmit tones with the use of lines. And he's considered one of the first and central pioneers in the telecom industry. So this is just one of the links, but I will let you know more about Plug and Play now. So I prepared a short slideshow to explain you about Plug and Play, and I want to do it quite quick in order to keep the track of our great agenda. So if possible, I would love to show you a bit more about our ultimate innovative platform. So it all started 15 years ago, when it all started in a building that we call the Lucky Building, and with the vision of building the leading innovation platform and to make innovation open to anyone and anywhere in the world, and to drive innovative connections between entrepreneurs, between corporations, and between investors worldwide. And therefore, we have been building this ecosystem of change makers that joins both corporations, startups, regulators, mentors, VCs, and governments and universities. On this journey, our innovation platform is based in 3 main pillars: our accelerator programs, which we run more than 60 all over the world; our corporate innovation team that works with more than 500 corporate industry leaders worldwide; and our venture capital arm that invests in more than 250 companies every year. So with that said, obviously, our track record in our investment arm, you can see it here. We have invested in more than 20 companies that became unicorn. And as I said before, we are the world's biggest and largest network of corporates. So we work with multiple corporates worldwide in multiple domains, from brand and retail to travel and hospitality, being as well, obviously, Telecom one of the most important ones. That's why today we invited our partners MTS, Claro, and Turk Telecom to be part of it. And just to conclude, our team consists of more than 500 employees, which 100 of them work for the venture sides and 70 on the operation sides. And through this year, we organized more than 1,000 events just like this one, and we are looking forward to what 2022 brings us. This was my short intro, and I wanted now just to give you a quick walk through the agenda. So after me, I'm going to call to the stage Alexei Posternak, the managing partner at MTS AI, since MTS is our co-organizer of the event. And after, we will have a keynote by Asukana Ashok, the founder and CEO of Unfold Labs, and he's also a member of Forbes Council. But I will give you more details when the time comes. And last but not the least, we will have a panel discussion where we will invite the corporate partners that I mentioned before. So we will have Baris Karukuluku from Turk Telecom and Rodrigo Modescu Duclos and Luciano Dietrich from Claro. And obviously, we have Asukan and Alexei joining the panel. But for now, and with no further ado, I'll give the stage to Alexei so that he, as the Chief Financial and Investment Officer at MTS AI, can also welcome you and explain a bit more what MTS is doing on this field. So, Alexei, welcome on stage.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. Thank you, Pedro. We are very delighted to be the partner of Plug and Play, such a reputable institution. So I wanted to briefly introduce myself and our company, what we do. So I want to share a few slides with you also. So we are part of MTS. MTS is a large telecom company. It's the largest in Eastern Europe with more than 100 million subscribers. So we are dealing with things in artificial intelligence. So we have three streamlines of the business. One is the venture builder and startup studio, where we create products ourselves. So we have a team of more than 200 people, mostly data scientists and R&D researchers and coders. So we develop products ourselves, and we also collaborate with other companies and other teams. So we use third-party teams to create products. We make joint ventures and make products ourselves with their help. Another streamline is the VC arm. So we invest in startups and companies on early stage and stage A. So we take up to 49%. The ticket size is from $500,000 up to $20 million. And the third streamline is the accelerator. So we help products. We help companies to develop their products. Firstly, from the technical point of view. So we think that on the market currently there are several players that act and develop AI solutions and invest in AI solutions. So these could be startups or corporates or VCs. We want to be a mixture of these components because we want to use the resources of a large corporation and also the speed of a small startup or R&D lab. So we want to be in this segment. So our principles are business-driven AI. So we want to create useful applications and solutions for the business and invest in them. We do products for people. So these people, these products can become part of the integral part of the everyday life. So we also strengthen relationships using our industrial expertise. We are very selective and we want to be objective. So we want to monetize, and we have this full cycle. So from the very early stage where we create companies from scratch, and then helping them with the accelerator, and after that we can invest in them with our VC arm. So the concept is that we also can mix these approaches that could be seen from our investments. So for instance, we invested $10 million in earlier this year in the company named Neuron, that is a Taiwan-based AI chip manufacturer. We are sitting there together with Sequoia and Horizon Capital, that is large Hong Kong-based VC. So, and they are producing AI chips. So we took the exclusivity rights for Russia, and we on the basis of these chips we create products ourselves that could be distributed by ourselves afterwards. So that is the concept and monetization. So we can actually help the companies on every stage with our expertise, which actually comes from our deep tech advisory board, consisting of very strong people in artificial intelligence and in business. So we have people from top tech companies, R&D functions, like companies like NVIDIA, Facebook, Samsung, Apple, Microsoft, Google, etc. So these people help us to identify best companies, identify best technologies, and also they can help companies to improve the product and to improve it from the technical point of view and also from the market point of view. So we plan to open a number of hubs where we see top expertise and strong AI community with regards to startups and universities and investors. So how we help companies with our accelerator. So we have, as I said, the technical expertise. We also have hands-on support that we help them. So we dig very deep in, and we help them to develop the products and help them to pilot them inside MTS, or the companies in the portfolio of our major shareholder, Sistema, that is a large private equity house. So we can implement these products and try these products in real-time environments, helping companies to get first revenues. We also can help them to fundraise. So we are building the community of investors and corporates that would be interested in AI solutions. And we can act here as a quality stamp. So we perform the first due diligence, technical due diligence, and we are betting our own money, and we can build trust here. So, and they trust that the investment we believe in would be perfect investment. So we can organize them and lead them in the rounds. So that's key things about ourselves. So acceleration program lasts for about 3 months, and during which there would be a session on the technical session, product session, market session, and investor relations sessions, and a few others. Very interesting speakers, very interesting mentors. So we invite companies in our acceleration program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alexei. Well, I must confess, it's been a pleasure working with you and your team so far. I think we will together achieve great milestones, and it's an open invitation for everyone that is listening to us or taking part here on this panel to join forces, and together I think we will achieve great things with MTS AI and the accelerator that we are launching. So next, I will call on stage Aso Kanashok. He will give a keynote about really what is transforming or what AI is transforming in the telecom industry. But before he starts, just a small intro about Azokan. He has been working for Samsung, Motorola, Nokia, Ericsson, Compaq, and yeah, he is a tough leader in the telecom industry. He's recognized in multiple publications and entities as an influencer in the space. So I'm really looking forward to hear what you bring us. That should be very interesting for all the stakeholders that are joining us today.
Thanks, Pedro. Appreciate you having me here right now. As I was telling you earlier, I was part of the plug and play event in the Bay Area about a few years ago when I was with Samsung. And today I'm pretty much impressed at how far you guys have come. Right? Okay, it's impressive. Um,
Thank you.
just a little bit about myself, right? Okay, I have been in the technology industry and telecom for over 30 years. I call it the DNA, right? Okay, so on the device side, I used to work for Nokia and Motorola. Um, on the network side, I used to work for Ericsson. And on the application side, I would say Motorola and Samsung, right? Okay, so you have this whole 360-degree view of the telecom industry when you're working on all these aspects of stuff, right? So I have a lot of ground to cover today. In What I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you some numbers and what artificial intelligence means. Today, anybody who's got a .ai domain can sell their company or platforms pretty easily, right? Okay, so that's how it is. Um, so I will start to talk a lot about what's going on in this industry uh, and what the future looks like and where we are today. Right? It's a very humbling experience to be part of technology today. So if you're been looking at the numbers on AI today around the world, there's a ton of things that are happening on AI, right? There's a lot of AI powered voice assistants coming in. Alexa is there, Google Voice is there, Siri is there. Okay, they have taken over the world by storm, right? There's a lot of businesses getting much more benefits through AI. There's a lot of and also on the automotive, right? Okay, there's a lot of autonomous vehicles. There's a ton of AI related work that's being done on autonomous vehicles and voice assistants in on mobile phones, for example, are like an integrated part of mobile phones right now. It's about 97% penetration, which is pretty high. It's hot at the end of the day, right? If I'm going to say what is AI is pretty hot. The market over the years, right? Okay, it's expected to go very high. If you see on the left, right? Okay, one of the biggest platforms, the biggest areas that are going to see growth is AI-based software platforms. I'll be touching upon this back again and again with the many other areas. If you see all the large players in the market, they are all working towards AI-driven platforms. Be it Google, be it Amazon, be it IBM, everybody's working on AI driven platforms so that okay they enable applications and solutions out there for the larger community. The market is expected to grow very fast and it's an expanding market. Now the numbers that are shown here are just minuscule to actually what is going to happen in the next few years. In terms of adoption, though today we are going to be talking about only telecom, it is about 5% of the market share on this. But if you see the industries that are going to be using AI in the next few years is pretty significant, right? It is going to touch upon all verticals around the world, right? Okay, any kind of vertical that you're going to be looking at is going to be touched by AI. And today, at least 50% of the businesses have adopted AI in at least one or two functions, right? A couple of functions that have used contact centers, call centers, and all those areas are really being used very well, right? The top 5 verticals that are basically getting affected by in terms of revenue is basically the first is marketing. Marketing is going to be affected by because of data analytics, right? Okay, more and more personalization, more and more hyper individualization is going to be happening on that area. Automotive is another hot area for basically autonomous driving, driver assistance, monitoring, predictive maintenance, predictive sales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The banking and financial services industry, the insurance industry is going to be the biggest one, because there's a ton of data that can be crunched. There's a ton of automation can be done. There's a lot of improved customer experience systems can be done. If you have seen during the COVID seasons, right, in the last year, the customer experience at the BFSI has really gone very, very high. And one other area is the healthcare, where there's a lot of things that can be done in improving health around the world. Okay, there's a lot of work that's being done on cancer detection. There's a lot of the work that's done on sequencing. There's a lot of work that's done on drug discovery, right? Personalization of drugs is another one big area that is being used by AI, right? Think of going to a doctor in another probably say 10 years. You go in and you say that, okay, I have this problem, right? Okay, they just take a blood sample and they make a very personalized medicine just for you, instead of taking these standard medicines that you take today. The last, right, or the last but not the least, is the telecom one that I spoke about, 5% impact, right? 13.4 billion by 2026. There's a lot more work that can be done there. Fraud reduction, RPA for telecom, virtual assistants for customer support. There's a lot more area that can be covered there. So there's a lot of discussion around artificial intelligence, right? So what is artificial intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence is not only one area of technology. It's a combination of multiple technologies coming together for providing a solution. Okay, so if you're looking at machine learning, there's a lot of data that's being generated by cars. There's a lot of data that's being generated by mobile telecom networks, right? So that data can be crunched to provide a much better customer experience at the end of the day. There's a lot of natural language processing as well. I spoke about Google Assistant. I spoke about Siri. I spoke about Alexa. There's a lot of work that's being done on natural language processing today, right? Okay, so the world has become just about 10 years back, right? Okay, if you landed in Japan, it would have been a difficult one for an American to go into Japan and speak in English, right? So now I was in Peru last year, where I didn't know Spanish. I just landed there, and okay, there are natural language processing systems out there, or on the phone or out there, right? Okay, it's pretty easy for you to communicate with anybody. So there's a lot of work that's being done on natural language processing, language translations, language understanding, language validations, and stuff like that. Content, contextual extraction, everything else, right? Then on voice, okay, voice is the next big thing. On a voice, right? Okay, there's a lot of work that is being done as well. Speech to text, text to speech, what I call mood detection, voice recognition. There's a lot more work that is being done there. On top of it, okay, there is robotics, right? So all these coming together becomes artificial intelligence. Think of all these beautiful, wonderful technologies that come and start impacting our day-to-day lives around the 24/7. So, in my view, there are three stages of artificial intelligence. The first is basically machine learning, right? Okay, so what Alexa and Siri and Google or Cortana do today, right? It's just machine learning, in the sense that, okay, they take one input, they give you one output, that is it, right? The second is, okay, an area where the machines start giving you a little bit of intelligence, right? The third stage is basically machine consciousness, right? Machine consciousness in the sense that, okay, they start to act much more smarter than humans, right? Right now, I would say we are, if you're taking it on a scale of 1 to 3, okay, we are at 1.2 to 1.3ish today. Okay, and then okay, there's a lot more work to be done towards moving towards higher ground here. What are the pros and cons of artificial intelligence? One simple way of looking at it is basically, okay, reducing human errors, right? Okay, these are machines, right? Okay, they can crunch data, they can look at you and make sure that they can make some decisions, right? Okay, whereas human errors cause confusion. For example, a good example is weather forecasting. The second is, okay, they can take more risks. Okay, you would have seen how things were taken to Mars missions, robots-based minesweepers and stuff like that. Customer experience, 24/7 chatbots, uh, repetitive jobs in the banks and verification, paperwork, right? Okay, so anything that needs to be done there, right? Okay, can be easily automated. Um, Digital assistants, they can make faster decisions. Let's say chess, right? Okay, is a very good example of making faster decisions, and a lot of innovations in healthcare, cancer detection, uh, blood related anomaly detection, etc., etc., etc. But on as everybody says, right? Okay, there's always, whenever there's a pro, right? Okay, everybody is looking at the cons as well. There's a lot of noise around, a lot of cons going on there. There are a little bit of political issues going around some of the aspects as well, right? Okay, the costs are higher, so you need to invest, right? Okay, so but then okay, there's a lot of companies out there starting to invest. The Googles of the world, the IBMs of the world, the Amazons of the world are doing a lot of investments. Unemployment. Uh, this is a hearsay, right? In the sense that, okay, as with any technology, as technology comes in, people have to reskill themselves to better areas. So that is one area. And then, okay, there is no creativity in human beings. Okay, we stop thinking, right? Okay, so I always used to joke here. I come from India. When I came in '95, you come into the US and you give $1 and say, okay, this is going to cost you 50 cents. So how much do you give back, right? Okay, they need a calculator, right? So human creativity and human replication is something that, okay, it is going to be taken away. People are going to uh, stop thinking a little bit more, right? Like it's like software engineering as well. Software engineers of today, if I what I see is I go and tell people some problems, right? Okay, immediately, okay, go Google, get some code and get there, right? So that's how human beings are evolving as well, based on all these technology areas. Uh, there is a bigger area called ethical use of AI. Okay, this is becoming a larger aspect of it as AI is growing. You would have seen a lot of noise around Google and ethics and stuff like that, Facebook and ethics, stuff like that, right? Okay, recently. So those are some of the cons that are happening with respect to AI. So now I'm going to take a very 60,000 feet level of what's happening in the industry in terms of artificial intelligence, and then okay, we'll get into the depth. As you can see, the devices that are connected to the network is growing. Okay, IoT is really taking the world by storm. As of now, in my house, in my connected home, I have probably about 100 devices connected to the network, right? So there are quite a few network devices that are getting connected to the network, because of which, okay, the telecom networks have to evolve. This, I just took it as a 5G subscriptions in the next 10 years, I think, right? Okay, so this again, right? Subscriptions are also going to grow, which is going to be a very interesting factor for all the telecom networks and the telecom operators. I wanted to take into note of the two platforms that are around the world: the Android and the iOS platforms, right? So Android is at like 72% market share, and iOS is at 26% market share, right? Okay, so there's so much happening with respect to platforms that are coming in. Both of these platforms are basically have taken the world by storm. Like, okay, if you look at 2007-ish, is when the iPhone was launched. At that time, the iOS was nearly 0% market share. Today, they have 26% market share. And Android around the 2006-ish timeline when they were launched. And today they have like 72% market share. They've just basically taken over the world here in terms of platforms on the mobile. In terms of applications, right? Okay, you see 3.4 million applications on Google Play and about 2.2 million applications on iOS, right? There's so many of these applications that are coming in on a day-to-day basis. Mobile has become a real good factor. Everybody is looking at mobile. If you look at Apple's numbers or Google's numbers in terms of all these platforms generating revenue, staggering numbers, right? Now, taking a step back and giving a very, very high level overview of what's happening in AI around globally, and then I'll get into the telecom aspects of it. One big trend is that, okay, the larger companies are set to win. Okay, they are basically the Googles of the world, the IBMs of the world, the Amazons of the world are basically sitting on a pile of data. Okay, data means, okay, they can do much more solutions, much better solutions. If you looked at Alexa when they came in, they were a little bit sluggish, and today they have gotten better because of the amount of data, because of the Alexas that they have been selling, and because of the data that they have been using. Google is the same way, IBM is the same way, right? Okay, the larger companies are very much set to win on this, in the sense that, okay, they're sitting on all this data, pieces of data. For example, all cloud-based solutions, right? Amazon is sitting on 66% of the world cloud solutions are sitting on Amazon. So basically, okay, they have a ton of data that is going on, understanding what's happening around them. The second, right? Okay, what is going to happen is there's a lot of consolidation of algorithms and technology that's going to be happening. Okay, there's a lot of M&A that's going on. As I spoke earlier, what's happening today is if anybody has a .ai domain, right? Okay, they are seriously being looked at as a very good competition in the AI space. The third, crowdsourcing of data will be very, very huge. Okay, all these companies, all these companies are getting into crowdsourcing of data, getting as much of data as possible to put things together. A very good example was basically what Google did was, I think about 5 to 7 years ago, there are multiple solutions that are using crowdsourcing, but I will give you a very good example of crowdsourcing. What Google did was they crowdsourced images from Hawaii, right? Okay, whoever went into Hawaii, what they did was go into Hawaii, go do whatever you want, take as many pictures as you want, and you send it to us, right? Based on which, what they did was they could pinpoint plants, pinpoint trees, pinpoint the kinds of plants, pinpoint who was there and what they were doing and all that stuff. And they used it in the Google Photos as well and made sure that, okay, they can crowdsource data. Okay, traffic is another big area that, okay, you can crowdsource a ton of data, right? So crowdsourcing of data is going to be huge. Whoever is getting as much of data as they can through crowdsource mechanisms, right? Okay, they are set to win. Data diversity, they get a ton of data diversity, and they open source the whole thing and get as much of data as they can. Fourth, as I've been telling you, right? Okay, all these larger organizations are doing, but then all the smaller companies, mid-sized companies are also getting into mergers and M&As, right? There's a ton of M&A that's happening out there. This is one interesting area of democratization of tools, right? Okay, so what's happening is all the large organizations are basically getting into an ecosystem development area where they're starting to put in tools to have higher market share or higher mind share of what's happening around them. For example, Alexa is a platform that they've built to have democratization of tools. You build a tool and you open it up and have multiple other people come in and do stuff. Google's platforms as well, right? Okay, even Google's image recognition platforms or the voice recognition platforms or the OCR platforms. All these are basically getting you better tools for democratization, so that there's a ton more mind share that's coming into the system. The human machine interactions will improve a lot with the AI. Now you'll be hearing a ton about Teslas, the autonomous vehicles. There's a lot of work that's being done on that area, right? Okay, that's a very good area. Robotics, supply chain, manufacturing, right? Okay, all those are getting affected by. No, I wouldn't say affected. All of those are getting enhanced with artificial intelligence. And I spoke about 5 to 10 verticals. It is slowly and steadily starting to impact all the verticals, right? Okay, you will start to see impacts across the various areas. With the COVID, education was a very good vertical that got affected, right? Okay, that got enhanced. Online schooling has happened, and with the online schooling, it's not just basically online video calls and stuff like that. There's a lot more AI based stuff that's being done right now. So facial recognition, facial reading, image rendering, video processing, and all that stuff has improved as well. Having said all that, what is happening is still there's a lot of issues with respect to security, privacy, ethics, right? Okay, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Two big areas that I would call it the recently, well, for the first is with respect to Google. There are a lot of moral discussions that are going with Google. And recently, just about last week, there's a lot of Facebook is in hot water or cold water because of all the ethical and moral issues that are going on with what they are doing with respect to mood detection or handling of moods based on feeds and stuff like that, right? Okay, so there are some areas that need to be validated and checked. So, having said, those are the big trends that are happening out there in around the world of AI in multiple verticals. Let's get a little bit deeper into what's happening in the telecom area, right? In terms of devices, AI-based chatbots is becoming the next big thing, right? Okay, there's a text-based chatbot. You can do voice, and the next is basically voice integrated with video, right? Okay, which can do mood detection, which can do facial recognition, whether you're angry, whether you're upset. Those based on AI-based chatbots, right? Okay, those are getting to come into the devices, right? And this is going to be a very interesting area because based on all this, right, your customer retention is going to be a very interesting area for you to really look at, right? Okay, based on voice, based on how he's speaking, when he's speaking, and how it is, how the data is coming through, right? So it's going to be one good area that is coming up pretty fast. Fraud detection on the devices, right? Okay, the telecom industry loses a ton of money every year because of fraud on their networks because of devices, right? So this is one more area that the telecom networks, the operators are deploying to making sure that they can reduce fraud. This is also used in the BFSI industry a lot. But then, the telecom industry is using it nicely for fraud detection and prevention on the device side. Contact centers, right? Okay, so think of the good old days of basically operators having a ton of call centers and stuff like that. Right now, customer experience is becoming much more easier. People are coming in with a multi-channel experience. People are coming with lingual experience. People can get self-help with the knowledge-based systems and stuff like that, right? Okay, so there's a lot of work that's being done on the customer experience side of it, because of which, one is basically reduced cost for the operators. The second is better customer experience for users, because of which, there's a lot more connectivity that's happening between the operator and the users. In terms of networks, right? Okay, there's a lot more work that is being done that users don't see, but then okay, there's a lot more work that's being done. Self-optimizing networks or self-tuning networks based on what's happening around them. Okay, if a network is down, right? Okay, then the adjacent network takes over. If a network is seeing a lot more dropped calls, then the adjacent cells take over, right? Better customer experience again, right? Okay, so if you know that, okay, think of a few years ago, right? Okay, if there's a network problem, okay, you're stuck with the network problem. Now, these networks are self-optimizing and self-tuning based on what's happening with their within them, right? This is going to be increasing company revenues, and it's going to give much better customer satisfaction as well. Fault detection in networks, right? Okay, so think of the time when AT&T or your network operator has to be running through multiple network equipment to making sure that okay, this is right or this is wrong. IoT and various other areas are helping networks fault detection of networks easily, right? And there are three other areas, right? Okay, you can predict, you can proactively predict, and then okay, you can preventatively do it, right? Okay, so you know when it is going to fail, you know what is going to happen, so you can with artificial intelligence, okay, you can get there, right? You can pinpoint sources of network outage. If there's a network outage, you can say that okay, this is where it is getting to be an outage, and then respond as appropriate. Again, more about customer experience, more interesting aspects of basically making sure that your networks are evolving properly. um, think of the pre-COVID and the post-COVID area, right? Okay, so when when everybody was stuck at home, all the home networks really evolved, right? Okay, they were all good. We didn't see much outage at all because the network started planning. They could predictively plan and proactively look at things and make sure that everything is fine. In terms of network investments, right? Okay, there's the with artificial intelligence, what you can do is okay, you can look at segmentation, where people are more people are there, where less people are there, based on which okay, you can put your capex, right? You can provide client outreach as well based on certain areas. Where are people going to be there? How many people are going to be using this at a certain point in time, right? Okay, on demand routing, on demand validations and reporting and insights to making sure that okay, you have a very global overview of what's happening out there in your network, and you use it to your positive aspects of it, in the sense that okay, you reduce customer churn, you make sure that okay, customers are happy, etc., etc., etc. Fault detection. So for example, in California, we have forest fires, right? Okay, so what happens when there's a network affected because of fires? What happens when a network gets affected because of smoke, right? There's a ton of IoT-based sensors that can be put. Video imaging can be done. Machine learning can be done to see what's going on around it and prevent fault detection as well, or at least post fault found, right? Okay, we can go and figure it out and solve the problems. Campaign management, this is a very good one, area for interesting area for marketing, in the sense that okay, based on the data that is being received, right? Okay, how many calls this person is making, when are they making their calls, how they are making the calls, are they making international calls or local calls, are they making data calls, or are they doing voice calls? Based on all this, right? Okay, as a telecom operator, okay, there are effective campaigns that can be done towards subscriptions, right? Okay, this betters the customer service. You can upsell and cross sell a lot more campaigns to your customers. RPA, right? Okay, RPA is one big area that is that I would call it the least resistance area for telecom companies to start looking at, right? Okay, there's a lot more easier work that can be done. Your billings can be automated. You can reduce your costs. Customer service related areas can be automated as well with RPA as well. reduce at the end of the day, right? Okay, well, what do as telecom operators or telecom uh, uh, network operators, what do you really want? You want to reduce churn, right? You don't want your customer to go away. You want to hold on to your customers as much as you can. If you look at the US market, right? Okay, there's a nearly a 50-50 between AT&T and Verizon. And then, okay, there's a little bit of networks on T-Mobile. But then, okay, if you look at it, right, okay, the churn has really, really reduced, right? Getting new customers from other networks has been a little bit less, because of which what happens is, okay, people are looking at their customer experience. People are looking at making sure that, okay, their operator is taking care of stuff, right? That hyper individualization, personalization of your network towards your customer is what is going to help you reduce churn. Then, okay, so I have probably another 5 more minutes. So my prediction for artificial intelligence in telecom, right? Okay, AI is going to be used for heavily for network optimization, right? How the networks have to evolve, how things have to be set up, where the cell sites should be, where people are going to be, based on which, okay, you can optimize your networks for predictive, for proactive as well. The next is predictive maintenance, right? You know it's going to fail, okay, based on data points, or you know what is going to happen. Predictive, and you can be proactively maintain it, right? Virtual assistants, okay, there's a lot of money that can be saved with having virtual assistants for customer support, right? 24/7 personalized. Okay, when Ashok comes in and says, hey, I have this problem, right? Hello, Ashok, how are you doing? I see that, okay, you have this phone, how do you fix it, right? Okay, that kind of areas is some one big area that is going to help telecom operators. RPA, as I told you, right? Okay, there's a lot of work that can be done with respect to data. Large volumes of data is there. Rule-based actions can be done with the RPA. Coming to my predictions on AI, right? Okay, so I'll look at a couple of things. Smart automation is going to happen everywhere, right? Okay, though AI is a very big thing, with all these platforms coming in, what's going to happen is smaller companies or smaller industries are also going to get into smart automation, right? Healthcare is going to be very huge, right? It is going to impact uh, better lifestyles, better ways of living, and stuff like that. One big area that I see is basically, okay, AI has really opened up the world, right? Okay, Silicon Valley is not going to be the only place for innovation anymore. There's a lot of countries, there's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot more areas that are getting big on AI, right? Then autonomous vehicles. Not you can I can never stop talking about AI without autonomous vehicles, right? Okay, the companies like Tesla's, and there are quite a few of these incumbent newer companies that are coming into self-driving and autonomous vehicles, right? That's driving this, right? So there's so much going on with the AI. Okay, though I am very positive about what's going on in AI. This is what I said in 2018, and I'm going to say that right now as well, right? Is it still is in its infancy, right? Okay, though there's so much of things going on, right? Okay, it's there's so much going on in AI, in telecom. There's so much going on in voice. There's so much going on in video. There's so much going on in data, right? The life of AI has just started. Okay, there's a ton of possibilities, right? I'm excited about the possibilities of AI making a huge impact. Healthcare is a big one, right? So life expectancy is going higher because of better technologies and stuff like that. But AI has a longer way to go. Okay, I don't see it peaking in my lifetime, in the sense that, okay, I'm early 50s. I don't see it peaking in the next 20 years, but still, right? Okay, there's a ton of growth that's going to go up and up and up, right? Having said that, the future is ours to create. So the way that we look at it is, okay, go from there. Okay, so Pedro, I'll be open for any questions, and for people on this webinar, the contact details are ashok@unfoldlabs.com. I'm pretty much on email nearly 24/7, and that's my mobile number as well. Pedro.
Yes, thank you, Asukan. It was really, really great time. Thank you for your contribution. I will encourage, as you said, our listeners, our viewers to reach out directly to you in case they have more ideas, questions to brainstorm with you. And yeah, I will invite you to stay with us for the next section of this webinar, so the panel. And we will have just here a small break so that we can prepare the setup. And during these 2-3 minutes, all the viewers can either have a drink or just relax and watch to a video that we prepare for you about plug and play. So yeah, see you in some seconds for the panel.
Thank you. Thanks, Pedro.
Thank you. And we are back. So now we will start the panel, and on stage will be together with me, as I introduced it before, Alex Posternak is the Chief Financial and Investment Officer from MTS. We will also have Baris Karakuluku from the Turk Telecom. So she's the Chief Strategy and Digital Officer from Turk Telecom. We have as well Rodrigo Modesto Duclus and Luciano Dietrich joining from Claro. Rodrigo is the CDO and Luciano is the head of Advanced Analytics. And I think Asukan is also on the line, so he can also join the discussion. But I will start by saying, first of all, thank you everyone for joining this conversation, this panel. I hope you enjoyed the great keynote that Asukan prepared. I will start ladies first with Baris. So from what you heard here in the presentation about the trends and even predictions, is there something you would like to highlight from your perspective?
Sure. Thank you for the involving me to such an exciting event. I enjoyed Asukan's presentation also. He touched very important areas, especially for the telecom side. And I can continue with the telecom details when it comes to adopting AI. We are providing, as Turk Telecom, we are providing services in the fixed broadband and mobile domains for 51 million customers in Turkey. Like other communication service providers, we are also facing competitors, threats, rising customer expectations, related challenges. AI is very important trend for us to follow and very important tool for us to involve in our processes and systems related digital transformation because I highly believe it is now moving from human related decision making to more empowered decision making through AI augmentation mode for the world and also for the telco companies. We need to do we need to mix the data analytics AI to human judgment, and it's not anymore the human is better than any computer related results when it comes to decision making. We need to mix the best part of the both worlds. So we are evaluating all kind of use cases relevant for telco in our current activities. We need to evaluate from all angles which is the best part to do for our process and systems. I can give examples from 3 points today, the customers part, operational part, and startup activities part. And if it is okay with you, I would like to invest more time for the third topic because of the audience in this event. Asokan already experienced what it means for the customers in some of the examples in the use cases. Over the years, telecom companies have accumulated a rich repository of the customer data, and with the help of AI, now we have more meaningful insights about customer behavior and expectations. In the customer part, we are using these insights to provide better services for our customers and also approach to them in a smarter way. For example, telecom contact centers are one of the area that we use these capabilities, and making some use case implementations to get back to our customers for faster turnaround time, doing more personalized activities with them, not to act them like for the 50 million customers same, but differentiate what this specific customer, Pedro, for example, will come to our contact center for, and what kind of problems that he will discuss. We are having stronger relationship and better cross-selling opportunities by this way. The second point is the operational part. With the capabilities of AI, we can improve our operations much better, and this is one area that we invest more time, energy, and all kind of resources as a telco company. Because with the challenges we have, this is the area that we have more focus, especially with the growth in mobile gaming, increased streaming of the videos. And when we discuss 5G, we are focusing on reducing the delays in end-to-end communications. These are the examples that cannot be discussed without the capabilities of the AI. And with the recent activities, we were also awarded in the IDC Digital Transformation Awards for Future of Intelligence in Turkey for our projects, actually, which is developed locally but applicable for globally. The third area that I want to spend more time is the startup ecosystem and our ventures, Türk Telekom Ventures activities. We recently announced that we invested 4 AI companies in this month, which became very important activity for our VC company, and we want to do more of this. I can give examples on that, but I would like to, when I have this chance, I would like to thank Plug and Play for collaborating with us also within this year. We announced this partnership because we don't only have Türk Telekom Ventures and invest AI companies. We have startup mechanism, and we already which started 2013, and within this year's edition of 18 initiatives, now we have graduates of 91 startups, early startup programs that are doing right now activities from England to America, India to Pakistan, from Korea to Japan. And with the help of Plug and Play, which is very good entrepreneurship and innovation platforms, that we are collaborating to help these startups that we are investing and supporting to grow from early times to be strong and globally competitive startup.
Thank you, Paris, for the inputs, and yeah, thanks for mentioning the support that you got from the Plug and Play team. I will now give the word to another panelist, in this case to Claro, to Rodrigo, and to Luciano, as well, to get your global perspective on what was presented before by Azukan. Also, what Paris just mentioned. What would you like to highlight from the Brazil side? You are on mute.
I mean, I kind of, it was a presentation. What?
Unfortunately, the sound is not working.
Good.
Maybe Luciano.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the sound, the sound is very, very bad from your side. If you can mute. Okay. I think it was very, very, very interesting, all the presentations here. And first of all, thank you very much for joining this conversation. Very happy to be here. And I think the AI in the world it's just has just started. So we have a lot to discover, and maybe in a few years we'll see another different scenario with the AI application. So in the telco companies, we have a lot of data, and the data is the fuel for the AI. So we can evolve a lot of things to improve the services and to develop new products. So I think we have the tools and the fuel to have a high speed in this journey of AI. So I think it has just begun, and we have a lot to do and a lot to make with AI applications.
Okay, and Luciano, just about that topic, one of the questions that I had in mind to ask, well, all of the panelists, but since I have you here now, do you see that these kind of changes are rather like transformational, systematic, or are more a transition, more like a kind of incremental change? What is your vision on that?
Yeah, it's a great question, because in my point of view, it's a constant process of disruption. It's a little bit of both, because when we talk about the narrow AI, and nowadays what we have is the narrow AI, we need a certain data to a certain application, and we will develop a certain algorithms to make the solution. So we need to make small disruptions, a lot of algorithms, and put all together to have a huge disruption in the end of the day. So it needs to be a continuous process of disruption, and each day we will develop better algorithms in different applications of the business, and to improve different solutions. So in my point of view, it's a continuous process. And when we go to telco companies, usually the telco companies are not native digitals companies. The telco companies usually are more traditional companies. So we have a lot of analogic process, and we need to transform the process, the systems, and the business to be able to adopt AI solution. Just an algorithm alone, it won't transform the business. It's a full transforming process, but it's a huge process, and it's for sure a huge disruption. So I like to think about it like a car engine. In a car engine, you have a lot of strokes, small strokes, to make the motion. So you need a lot of algorithms in a continuous way being developing to make the motion. So in my point of view, it's a continuous process of disruptions.
Thank you, Luciano. I think, Rodrigo, would be great to have your input, but I think we still have some issues with your audio. You want to try?
hear me?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah. I'll leave.
I think, well, I'm sorry, Rodrigo. We will keep having the Claro's inputs from Luciano. I'm really sorry for that. I will move then again to our host, Alex Posternak from MTS AI. So you already presented in the introduction how MTS AI is working, but after what Azokan just showed, after the inputs as well from the other industry leaders, Barry's from Telecom, Luciano from Claro, do you want to highlight any trend that you really think that would be that you will be working on or in the future of the trends that we have been discussing?
Thank you, Pedro. So, first of all, I want to thank Ashok for the presentation. Was was very impressive. It's difficult to add something on the trend side. I think all of the major trends and they were mentioned. Also interesting to learn from Barry's like how they're working with the AI and current telecom products, and also from Luciano. The idea that telecoms are traditional companies and they need to they need to change their business processes in order to implement AI solutions. So I want to add here that first of all, the company needs to understand what business model it is using. So I would like to highlight three business models currently for major business models for telecom companies. First one is the ecosystem provider model that actually assumes the wide range of services and diverse digital products and solutions. So this model requires operations to adjust operations in a number of industries like fintech, IT services, energy, professional services, and they have the diversified portfolio. And I think that is the hardest situation, because you need to be you need to adjust for all of these industries. You need to adjust in many aspects. So, but the telecom base and the data actually the telecom has is very good for building the ecosystem type of model, because you have a lot of data about the customers, about the subscribers, and you can out of this data you can create a number of products that can and use cross sell. So the other business model is the operational and infrastructure led. So that is purely that model assumes that the company purely focuses on providing telecom services and optimizes the data and the telecoms network. Ashok told about this trend and about the good prospects of optimizing the networks. So another business model, actually the service centric model, where we have like where we're focusing on activities activities and customer orientation, and we are focusing more on services, like Virgin does, for instance. So based on the business model you are using, you need to understand what type of AI solutions you might be using. So in our case, we are part of the large telcos, so we are a subsidiary, but we are actually a standalone company. So we are trying to be everywhere in most of the sectors where AI actually is implemented. So, and MTS is our customer. So we are producing some projects, some products and services for MTS, for the host company. And mainly these products are within the lines of voice assistants and chatbots, of course, because that is, I think, the major segment here currently in the telcos. Another thing is video analytics. So also an interesting thing, because on the platform of the telecom, so you can build something related to not only voice, and that is a good platform. And another thing is the RPA, of course, where you optimize the business solutions. And I would say you optimize the current business processes and with the AI solutions, so you you save costs. So with the RPA is quite popular right now, so I think it's the most developed segment right now in the AI category. So we see many companies, many enterprises are using RPA right now to improve the processes. But I think the most interesting part would be to focus on what areas you can actually, in what areas you can actually build something new to receive new revenues, and focus on the ecosystem model. So given the data you have about the customers, so what type of solutions you can offer to them. In fintech, for instance, where you analyze the data, you can build up scoring models and new generation scoring models, and actually work with the subprime, for instance, for making loans. So we can build good fintech ecosystem on this basis. Another thing is different types of IoT and smart home and other type of things. So based on this ecosystem, you can build a new ecosystem of IoT devices, connected devices, and different types of smart home applications. And also the mobile gaming was also mentioned, so you can use also this data that comes from mobile gaming. Mobile gaming is growing very fast, and actually very good segment here. So understanding the customer behavior, also you can build new services and sell it to the market, to B2B clients, for instance, in advertising and other type of things. So for e-commerce, for instance, or for offline retail. So we see many startups here in these areas, and we are analyzing the universe of startups right now. And I would say that many companies, many teams come to us with very interesting solutions, sometimes with the solutions that we even haven't thought about before. So it's very interesting to analyze this universe. So of course, the key focus for telecoms would be on, as given that they are traditional companies, incumbents. So this focus would be on the network optimization, on process optimization, on different types of maintenance, predictive maintenance, and customer behavior. But few companies would actually focus on these new services, new products, and I think they would transform from the telcos to something else, something larger, and on the basis of this current business, they would diversify and extend to new areas.
Thank you, Alexei. I will again now picking a bit on some of your thoughts about the business model approach, the ecosystem, RPI. I would like to ask Baris just one question about what is the approach that Turk Telecom indeed is taking into how to implement the AI in your ecosystem, and as well what may be the upcoming trends or predictions that you can share that you will act on in the upcoming months.
Thank you. We are implementing, I think we are using a traditional approach and untraditional ones in parallel. I mean, traditional approach are, of course, with the telco ecosystem, which worked in the last 20, 30 years. We have strategic vendors and doing many pilots and implementations to do the digital transformation activities for our operations and for our customer, service products and services related areas. And in addition to that, we have the innovation related departments for doing business development in our business activities for business units. We do many innovation projects with our strategic vendors. So sometimes the vendors bring the solutions to us, and we assess and do the trials, and if it works, we do. We increase the scale and roll out for the whole operations. And sometimes we go to them and explaining our use cases and the needs, and then they are surging and developing solutions for us. So as telco companies are, compared to other companies like giants, we need to apply all kind of systems, and especially when digital companies taught the telco systems, it's now more meaningful to do many things in parallel and in the small scales, and then see the results. And if it works, you roll out for the rest. If it doesn't work, you stop it. So we have more desire to do mistakes as telcos compared to the past. And I think this is not a transitional change. It's more real transformation for the industry. And not only with the pandemic accelerated digital transformation, I think with the also the other trends like 5G and the threats with the cybersecurity and all the data-driven initiatives and trends, we have to do many things in parallel. And this transformation is happening in every part of our life. We change the way we educate, the way we shop, the way we communicate, entertain in the last couple of years highly dramatically. And with the size of the data coming out, and this data is not anymore belong to the just digital companies. I think the telco companies have enormous of data too. Of course, we have more regulations compared to digital companies that we have to use the rules and do in the creative ways. But I think we have more trends to implement and see. We already saw and did some projects. For example, digital pathology is the one area that we can do in the smarter way, use the both best part of the human side and also the AI in terms of diagnosing the diseases. I think we will see more of this. We will see the healthcare industry to use more of the capabilities. My colleagues already mentioned the autonomous driving capabilities. I think it's crazy for the telco companies because we are in the middle of everything. We are the providers of the machine-to-machine communication mechanism. So whatever industry is doing or bringing the innovative ideas, we are either attached or at the end, or going, I mean, shoulder to shoulder for the solution of this. So we have to go both for the traditional ways and do the big implementations in a careful way, because it's giant and it shouldn't be broken, and the communication needs to be continuous. But on the other hand, the startup mechanism, all the innovations coming from the small companies, in addition to digital companies, are so important that we have to be part of this, and we have to understand, work on the fraud mechanism. I mean, this face recognition, autonomous driving, all this healthcare and education. For example, the last example I want to give before stop is the education. The education content, majority of the education content of Turkey coming from a company called Sebit, which is the 100% subsidiary of Türk Telecom. And with the unexpected changes coming from the pandemic, when the schools closed in the beginning of 2020 physically, and everything became online within 1 week, and we were the one providing those content with the help of the education, of course supporting the education ministry. And it was important both from the connection perspective, having all the millions of students from primary school till university students to be continuously connected to this mechanism, and also providing the content. So it was challenging from all kind of level. But if we don't do this in the smarter way, we have, I think, using the chances to create bigger values for this season. We look at the things from all kind of angles to make it smarter way, and challenge us for the areas that we do traditionally.
Okay, Baris, thank you very much for such a comprehensive answer. Indeed, there are two main takeaways or accelerators that you touch upon. One, the COVID, and the second one, I was already kind of really excited to touch upon that one, which is the 5G. And indeed, on that one, I would like just to have the overview from the Claro side, so either from Rodrigo or Luciano, since I know that Claro was one of the first players in Brazil to have the 5G. What do you think about this catalyzer? Which one was more important, the COVID or the 5G itself? Or how do you envision that 5G can impact the AI usage in Latin America?
Can you hear me now?
Perfectly.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Just I went out and in again, and it works. So I'll piggyback in the last two topics. I guess the 5G presents a few opportunities, great opportunities. The edge computing power and the low latency together, I think, combined with AI on the edge, probably will enable us to create new applications, new business models, completely different. I fully agree with our colleague from MTN. The video analytics sounds a land of opportunities, that things that today would take a lot of time to process, that if you can do it on the edge with a very low latency, it might change the world, the way we think about, especially I've been seeing some examples in health, but my guess is this can spread all over. One point that I wanted to bring it back is that I love the short presentation. I think it was very provocative and make us think. But there's one thing that it's there, but it's kind of not explicit. that I think is very important. The fact that the telecom industry is trying to become more than telecom, is trying to go up in the value chain and create new applications and be a different player with different business models. In our case, we have not only the mobile, but also the video business and the fixed broadband, but also the corporate business. So we are in touch with many companies that are our clients, and now with 5G, we are seeing tons of opportunities to work together with innovation labs from our partners, our clients, to develop new applications, and mostly everybody's thinking about this combination: AI, edge computing, and low latency, and IoT. It's a lot of sensors. I think the volume of sensors will make a big difference in this field.
Thank you, Rodrigo. I think one thing that I wanted to go back, a step back, because I wanted to once again have the Alex perspective on this, and the MTS side is really the role of the third parties when you are integrating the AI into your core business. How is MTS working on this? Since multiple times you mentioned about ecosystem, and we Plug and Play indeed believe in ecosystem, as I show in a previous slide, and as well to get once again your perspective into the ventures part of it. So how much ventures takes an important part on this, since Paris also mentioned about TT Ventures that just invested in 4 startups. Alex, can you give us some more insights from your side? Alex, unfortunately, we cannot hear you.
It's not only me.
No, it's not only you. But maybe, if we are not able to get Alex's answer, I'm also curious about how Claro is doing it, because indeed, from the Turk Telecom, I read the news from the last weekend, but indeed from Claro, do you have a arm to invest in AI projects or in startups specifically?
Not investing directly.
Can you hear me now? No? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we can.
Sorry.
We don't have sorry. I'll just finish, Alex.
Sure.
To answer a small question that we are filling in. No, we don't have a venture like a corporate venture arm, but that doesn't mean we don't invest in companies in the ecosystem. It's not just a structure as a corporate venture. Our partner parent company, América Móvil, is always seeking for opportunities and constantly investing in technology and new players. Sometimes we do in Brazil. Brazil has a very hot and dynamic environment. I was reading the other day, we have about more than 70% of the startups in Latin America. So it's really dynamic, and there's a lot of opportunities going on here. We're focusing on building relationships and building and scaling them up with our assets. But we're always looking at the investment opportunity for sure.
Thank you, Alex. Now, if you have
the
chance,
I had a problem with the button, with the mic button, so it was not switching on. Yeah, so regarding the VC and VC initiatives and investment initiative and acceleration. So what we understand, and based on my previous experience working with different VC funds, I've been working for 5 VC funds in various geographies. So I would say that investment strategy and acquisition strategy is more quick, and it helps you to really diversify. So in case you are building something, you cannot be everywhere. So the products you are building, you're actually very focused on something, and they could be very niche. So you can be professional in many spheres. So investing in various through VC fund or just from the balance sheet of the company, it helps you to identify new trends. It helps you to participate in many companies, and we actually sometimes we mix the approach of the investment strategy and the in-house building strategy, so venture studio strategy. So we like with the case of Neuron that I mentioned. So we have these investments, and through these investments, we actually negotiated the possibility, the exclusivity right for our particular market, where we want to be leaders, and we have the exclusivity right to produce and distribute the products of, and also the products of the company we invested, and to end up using our skills and expertise to modernize these chips and build new devices based on these chips. So we localize the chips. We add some features and other features to these chips, and this is a good strategy if you want to capture different areas. So because as I said, with the greenfield strategy, you are not able to be everywhere, and that is not quick. Another thing is very important is that when we create products, we see that products, and in AI especially, that is not some particular feature. So it's not only one feature. So the customer wants to see the bundle. It wants to see the final product, which has different features. So it's not only about voice, for instance, it's also about the video, like the video call. So we are not, video call consists of the video streaming and audio streaming, like NLP like VoiceBot, for instance. So it consists of the NLP platform that is natural language platform that organizes the text and understands the text, but also it consists of the ASR model, which converts audio to text. Then it processes it through its NLP platform, and then it synthesizes the text through its TTS module. So these are at least 3 modules you need to have here. And also you need to have other models. For instance, if you are merging it with other areas inside your telecom company, for instance, with the telecom, with the customer support, with the sales force, for instance, with the other billing modules, information about the billing, etc. So you need, the product is consisting from several features, and you need to create these models. You can create these models by yourself, or you can capture some of the modules, some of the parts from the market. And that is very interesting, and because you can do it quick. So not developing everything in-house, because otherwise you would sometimes need enormous capex to do that. So that's how venture actually, how venture investment strategy helps to do that, and the acceleration as well.
Thanks, Alex. I think since we are getting into kind of in the end of the session, we have an additional 10-15 minutes. I would like to give you the opportunity, and since we have here some sort of a round table, that you could ask some questions to your colleagues, so to each others. I don't know if MTS wants to ask something to Claro, or Claro to Turk Telecom, between you, or to just touch upon a point that we have not discussed yet. So let me know who wants to go first. Rodrigo?
Yeah, I can post a question here for you. How is the adoption of AI on your digital products, like the apps and the website, the digital face of MTN and to Telecom? Are the teams embracing it? Are they using for personalization and prediction, or still in its infancy?
I think the adoption process is getting adoption process is faster for the digital products and services that we are developing recently. For the past ones that we developed long time ago and more mature ones are taking it slowly. I mean, or slower than I'm expecting. Or
Okay, so
but generally, the network-related operational improvement kind of AI adoption is faster. Also, one of the fastest in our areas. I think it is more related with the people issues and which kind of team is developing and adopting it. Because some of the product owners or the teams are more new generations who were born with AI in the current mechanism, and they are pushing for more innovative and trendly meaningful solutions and faster adoptions. And for the products that we develop, like the digital products, there were all the other things in terms of prioritization before the AI adoption. And integrating all of them is also another issue. I mean, of course, like the omni-channel is one of the biggest challenge for the telco companies, I believe. And it's my second telco company in Turkey, and I've seen it in the both cases.
It's about ourselves. So we actually, from the perspective of the supplier, so because we act as a supplier, so we have completely business terms with our mother company. So we are providing the solution and they are integrating that solution. I would say that MTS is doing great. I mean, in terms of collaboration, so we feel very strong support from inside of the company, inside of the different business lines. So no reluctancy. I mean, the company is very innovative in this field. So we have strong support from the product sides of different verticals. And of course, there are some difficulties because you're working with a large enterprise with a large number of groups, and sometimes these groups, they don't know how to operate with each other, and there could be different types of intersections. But how we approach this process, so we asked to have, I mean, we have product managers, product CEOs on different types of products that we build. And when we integrate these products, we have the product managers from that side. So we form sort of a joint work groups that actually implement these solutions, and that actually works well, because if we are that works well because we can be inside, so we can act very closely. That will not happen if you are a third-party integrator. For instance, if you are outside of the ecosystem of the company, it would be difficult for you to integrate any type of product inside a large corporation, inside large enterprise. Not not necessarily telecom company. I mean, any type of enterprise. And I think telecom companies, as I see, because I've seen many enterprises in many industries, I mean, the telecom are very good in implementing something new. I mean, they are very close to new innovation compared to other companies, brick and mortar companies in manufacturing, in oil and gas, in other areas. So telecoms are on the edge. I think it's good here.
Yeah, I can relate. I think we all agree that people plays a big role in the adoption and of course.
Indeed, speaking about people, I would like just to drop a question that was asked in our open chat for one of our attendees, was asking if you are seeing an increase in the use of synthetic data for the AI application, and if so, if you can, I don't know, say how, and if you are testing if those the use as some sort of racial bias or bias at all. Eventually, this question could go to Luciano, since you work exactly on this field, I believe.
I don't think if I understood the question, because the sound is not good for me. But I think you asked something about the bias with the AI. Perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think we will have in the next years a lot of discussion about some risks that we have using AI, and one of them is the ethics of AI, and for sure we have naturally a lot of bias when you use AI, because think about the AI like something that can learn with the past. It's always the past. The predictive capacity of the AI is based on the past. So if you have some kind of bias in the past, we will make this bias be forever in the future. So we have to be very concerned about this kind of topic, and in the people that develop the algorithms, we have to tell them to be concerned about the ethics, and primarily that's the concern, and beyond the concern, we need to develop more techniques to handle the bias, because with the bias we can make a lot of decisioning, of automatic decision that are not the ideal decision for the society. So that's a concern. That's a topic that is beginning in the discussion of AI. We have some approach to handle with the bias, but I think in the future it will be the main concern, the main issue to solve with AI, because naturally the bias in the past will be projected to the future. So the concern about it, it's very, very important in the people that develop, and the techniques needs to be more mature to avoid this kind of bias. So I'm thinking about the ethics bias. That is my main concern with the algorithms that my team develop. I am me and my team. We are very, very very concerned about this kind of issue. So I think in the future everyone will need to handle this kind of bias. Okay.
Thank you.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
I answered it.
Thank you, Luciano. And I think, Alexei, just to come to you as well in MTS, I do believe that today MTS is also either taking part or hosting an event around the ethics in AI. Am I correct? I think maybe it's live because I was just checking. Can you confirm, Alexei?
I'm not sure. Not sure about that.
Okay. But yeah, we are really in the last minutes. Maybe Alexei, since you are also one of the hosts, do you want to really give us some final words, some final pieces of informations that you want to highlight, so that then we can wrap up the session and conclude the webinar?
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone for very interesting discussion. I think we need to do more things like that to exchange ideas and share our thoughts and maybe pains on the innovation. I think it's interesting how things are carried on in various companies, and I would say that a lot of I really like the short presentation, and a lot is just like the word that we are just in the early stage of developing and implementing AI in many processes, and I think a lot is still ahead. So we are just not even in the middle of it. So I think very huge changes are ahead, and it would be very interesting to know. Maybe something is upcoming we even don't know about, like major disruptions.
Okay. Thank you, Alexei. And I will really take the opportunity and your line on that. It's just the beginning. And it's great to have partners like you, like MTS, like Telecom, and like Claro in our ecosystem. And that's exactly maybe my final call to action is really for those that are watching and for you that are participating in this roundtable. I think an ecosystem lives from all the stakeholders to have relations and share information between each others. So yeah, this was just a 2 hours event, but I hope that some of you will keep in contact, reach out to each other, reach out to me as well and to our team. And I hope that you can keep being on the open platform for the participants. You can network, and I would really, as my last words, say a huge thank you for all the participants, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone.
It was
guys.
very nice to meet you all. Thank you very much.
Nice meeting you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Let's keep in touch. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.